Hey crafty people, welcome back to my channel, and in case you're new here, I'm Sarah, also known as Craft Nerd because I'm a nerd who loves to craft. I do paper crafting, card making, junk journaling, and mixed media art. Let's get crafting! Oh, welcome to my channel. So today we are doing the second of the three faux book boxes that I got at the dollar store, and for this one we're creating Fortunes by Madame Zahra. And I thought it's already done because I'm having to go back and film some fill-ins because I didn't realize how long these videos were going to be when I first recorded everything. And I thought I had a video at least discussing how I did this piece and then the background piece for it, but I can't seem to find that footage. And so what I did was similar to the wood door panels that I did in the very first video that I made for the wand and broom shop, and then the next box, which is going to be my alchemy shop, is I took some inky paper, and this was inky paper I pulled out of my stash. I inked my embossing folder, which is a Tim Holtz embossing folder, with some archival, and I think I used hickory smoke, and then ran the paper in the embossing folder through my die cutting machine to get the ink impressed into the paper. And then I also lined this with a piece of backdrops by Tim Holtz. And so now we are going to pick up where I left off in the filming of the video, which is putting the rest of the stuff together. Okay, so what I want to do is we've got our background, which I'm going to pop out because we're going to put lights in. And I realized I got a lot of dead space up there. So we're going to create some candle sconces using these vials that I picked up off of Amazon. And I'm going to put a candle on top, and I want to fill them with glitter. And I've been moving stuff around to clear space, and now I don't know where the glitter I want to use is. Found it. So we're going to do a mix of the rock candy chunky and just the regular rock candy, and I'm doing it in orange since we've got a purple backdrop. I feel like I want to set this in something to hold it upright. Alright, so let's use this as a jar of Prills. I can stick this in. It'll hold it upright for me while we are doing what we're going to do, which is grab a funnel, grab a scoop, scoop a little rock candy glitter in, do a little of the rock candy chunky, pull it out, take a look, give it a good shake to mix it together. And it needs a little bit more of both. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Got a little rock candy chunky in my Prills. Let's add a little bit more of each. And this isn't even the part that really needs to be held up. I need it to hold up when I add the glue. And I'm thinking I don't have enough chunky mixed up. All right. Oh, no. Oh. This is definitely the kind of day I'm having. I think I have some orange Prills. Let's add some orange Prills in here. Work mostly just because I need to fill up space. Ooh, those are escaping everywhere. I'm gonna put the stopper back in and give it a good shake round. Add some more Prills. All right. So I like that. That'll work. We're going to set that. Let's set it in this one because I'm going to need to add Prills to the other one. And what I'm going to do is, it's probably lost it on the table. Here they are. I cut a 1-inch circle out of some acetate. I'm gonna use my Aliens the Ultimate. Put some glue along the top here, because I need to seal in our mixture. And then I'm gonna add a piece of candle on top of this, but we need to let this piece dry. And I know there's a little overhang, we'll trim any excess off, but that's gonna keep our glitter from exploding out. Okay, so I'm gonna do that to the other one. When they're dry, we'll come back, trim off the excess, and add the candle to them. Okay, so I've done a little work off camera just to get the whole lighting process started. And I picked these up at the dollar store, and they're similar to the Tim Holtz tiny lights. I don't know what'll happen if you cut one. I know with the Tim Holtz, they're wired so that you can cut off the excess ones if you don't need the entire strand, and they'll still work. No idea, not gonna test it out, but yeah, dollar store. So what I want to do is, she's gonna get attached to it to hide the lighting mechanism. So it's gonna go about there. Then I threaded it through a hole that's right behind. And what I may do before we get any further is I am gonna grab my alcohol ink marker and color that black so it doesn't show as much. Hold on, actually, you know what? Let's try doing purple. Since the background's purple, and see how that works. Since I've got a purple marker here. Yeah, that works much better. All right, just need a little bit more. Right there. So that's gonna go on like so. And I just taped down the thickest part because that does not like to get pulled through, but I wanted to leave slack so whoever gets this can pull this out and change the batteries. Now we're going to figure this out first. So our little sconces, the tops are dried. They're gonna go, let's see, let's put her on like she's gonna be on, so I know exactly where her head is. Now I'm gonna glue them on, but I figured what we can do is wrap the wire around to act like it's holding it up, and kind of would like a light behind it. Let's see if that actually does anything. So I kind of want one there-ish. And then I want to have one, because we're going to do a candle, serve as the light for the candle. So I'm just wrapping this around a couple times. And then we'll have this come up to where the candle's gonna be. Let's figure out our candle height while we're at it. Let's turn those lights on. So that's the ceiling. Let's cut the candle about there. And these are just birthday candles, which I used for the, oh look, those are almost exactly the right height. Okay, I think our best bet is gonna be to take it off. I'm gonna use some Alien the Ultimate to glue it on. But then we're gonna light the other guy and get it kind of melty and drippy. So I have plenty of water around, so make sure if you're going to be using candles, you've got water handy. Let's stick it in here again because I don't have enough hands. So I'm gonna light that. And then I'm gonna do this, and I'm realizing now I should go grab an actual candle that's a little bit longer because this guy is a little stubby. And I feel like I'm gonna grab these with my, actually, you know what? I'll grab them with, got little silicone finger protectors. Mostly because I don't want to get a ton of wax in that thing. Oh look, I've got pearls stuck to it. The nice thing about wax is you can pretty much break off what you don't want. All right. I think that'll work. And I think what I'm gonna do is, okay, so I went and grabbed another candle. I off camera glued the other one onto its sconce because I want to do a little bit more drippiness. I want to get rid of those like lines on there. But I realized before we do that, she's a fortune teller. She's going to have her crystal ball, and this is just jewelry making thing that I had in my stash, and I've got some little beads that we're gonna glue on as feet, and I figured let's do that so it can be drying while we're working on the candles. These tweezers. Feel like what I may want to do is flatten that out a little bit. All right, let's try that again. Although I'm looking at it going, I think I flattened those guys out too far. Set that aside and let it dry. All right, let's light our match. Let's put our finger covers on. Light our match, light our candle. Grab our piece, just add a little heat to it. All right, that looks good. Blowing that out just because I don't have enough hands. All right, that one's done. Let's do this guy. Grabbed additional ones so that if this candle starts dripping, I'm not gonna burn myself. Helps if you keep the fingers without the covers on it out of the way of the drippy wax. I think that's looking pretty good. Let's set that guy down. Now we can add this guy back over here. Set that to the side there.
And we're not just going to rely on the wire to hold it on. We are going to glue it in place once we get the wire wrapped around properly. All right, we're gonna stick our lights back through the hole. What we want is to have a light at the top of our candle. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my glue and glue the body of this down. Ooh, I like that. All right, this is gonna need to dry before I can do anything else with this piece, because if I pull on the lights, it's gonna shift this guy and it's not gonna dry in place. So I am gonna go set this off to the side somewhere and work on something else. Okay, so I wanna give her dress a little bit more pizzazz. So I am grabbing Distress Crayon, and this is Wicked Elixir. So it's a metallic. And we are just gonna put it on and use a Q-tip to kind of blend it. So it's not so scribbly. It's just giving like a hint of, I think I may put a little bit more on. Don't know how well that's showing up, but it's giving her some green metallic sheen. I'm thinking about doing her fan. Got Fortune Teller, which is a purple. So maybe we'll do the fan with the purple. Oh yeah, I like that. Okay, so this project is clearly the project of missing footage, because I could have sworn I filmed making this table, but that footage has disappeared. So I'm just gonna tell you what I did and add this into the video and then take up with where I left off of the actual footage from this. So I took, these are little plastic cups that I got at the dollar store in the party section. I colored it with alcohol inks in purple. So you can see I colored it with alcohol ink in purple. Then I took this sheer sparkly black ribbon from my stash and I folded it over the top and glued it down and just went all around like 2/3 of it. I didn't bother with the sides that were getting glued against the wall and the back. And for the top, I took a piece of acetate and inked that with alcohol inks. So you can see that. And then I glued it on. And as you'll see in the footage to come, I'll comment that when I glued this on, the glue got kind of sploogey and I knew it wasn't going to be pretty along the top. So I took some string pearls in black and glued them on as well. So now we will go back to the actually recorded footage. Okay, so I went ahead off camera and did this sconce. And then I was like, well, let's just run and poke the hole for where the lights are going to come out down at the bottom. And then it just went off the rails and I did a whole bunch of stuff off camera. Apologies for that. But I glued her to this, but this is not glued down. So theoretically, we should be able to take this out. To change the batteries. And I did not glue this down, and I was like, oh, it's not going to be a problem because it's going to be held in by that, but it's apparently going to pull up when I go to pull this out. So that's not ideal. So let's see if we can get this glued down. Despite my issues. Yeah, I realized after I glued this in place that I hadn't glued this down. It'll work better if I do this bottle because it's smaller and I can wedge it in there. Ooh. Yeah, this is not exactly how I had planned. I planned on gluing this in place before putting that in and forgot, and then yeah, now we're making a mess everywhere. All right. Clean up our glue mess over here. And over here. And down here. And then we can tuck her back in like that. First we've got to push this back through because that's why I wanted it glued down, so that there's some ability to tuck this in. All right, and then she's just gonna sit in like that because we want to be able to get to the battery pack to replace the batteries on our lights, which ta-da! All right, now I drilled a hole in the bottom of this and pulled our lights up through it, so they're gonna get curled up down in the bottom. And I think what I may do, because I noticed it was kind of springing up a bit, is take one of these tiny clips and kind of clip it together, because yeah, I kind of like it to sit in there. Let's see, what do I have that might work? Oh, we're gonna use this jar of Prills and wrap the lights around it. And that's gonna go down in there. And where is our top? For our top, we're gonna poke a hole in it. And let's put the hole right about, this is gonna go on there. I'm gonna put the hole about there. All right, I'm just grabbing the hole punch and we're gonna just poke a hole. So, round about here-ish. Let's do a couple so that it'll fit through. We're gonna run this light through, okay? Another hole. That light through and that light through, but that's as far as I want that to go. Let's tuck our lights back in, try and get them to go back in. All right, so we need to glue this on. You know what, we're gonna use glossy accents because it's handy and it's handy. And we're gonna just do a line around the edge of this. Tuck this in, and then I gotta go deal with a dog who is barking. All right, I am going to stick this jar on top. So it's gonna be kind of hard to see, but the jar is gonna sit on top to hold it in place, hopefully, while it's drying. I'm gonna leave that dry. I'm gonna go deal with the dog. I'll be back. Okay, so the glossy accents wasn't working, so I grabbed my Aleene's The Ultimate Glue, and it kind of splooged everywhere, so I ended up going ahead and putting the trim on that I wanted to put on. And so now we're gonna put our let's see, I've got the crystal ball, and then I did a candle on a little like bead finding so that she can have a candle next to her set up. This is one of those things, it's really hard for me to see what the heck I'm doing. But let's glue the candle on first. And I kind of want to stick it on something. I think we're gonna glue the bubble on. So I'm gonna put a little glue in there. Glue in there. Got a glue on there. I'm gonna stand this up. Stick the candle on the table. Woo! And because I decided to add the little ball, it's like sliding everywhere. And I just knocked them over, and ugh, I can't even see what I'm doing. All right. That is not cooperating at all. Oh, that is not good. Where are tweezers, tweezers, tweezers? Okay, let's try this again. Set her upright so she's not looking like a drunk monkey. That is gonna need something else to sit in, I think, so we don't have this problem. So I've got the jump ring. I am going to get that off of there. Put a little bit of glue down, or a lot. That is way more glue than I want. And I'm getting glue everywhere. Oh. Now I'm gonna stick the jump ring in the glue and our light into the jump ring. That will hopefully sit and hold, and I will try and get the glue off the lights. All right, that is gonna have to dry before we do anything else. So, because the idea is I'm gonna put the last light on the candle and then have this light underneath our crystal ball. So I'm gonna let that dry and then we will come back. Okay, so we're dry. I've got the light wrapped around the candle, so So it looks like the candle's lit up. So now we just need to attach her crystal ball. And so we're gonna attach this like so, I think. Yes, that'll work well for going over the lights. One of our feet got knocked over before it was dry, so we'll put that one towards the back. Oh wait, it's supposed to go this way. That's why I'm like, why is it not fitting right now? Because feet forward, there we go. And then I'm gonna put some glue. Can you even see what I'm doing? Probably not. Okay, so I'm gonna put some glue on here to glue the crystal ball in place. And I'm gonna turn that upright because the stand's sliding. And I'm gonna leave that to dry. And then I'll come back and show you what it looks like because yeah, I gotta leave it upright. This is the problem with these projects. Gravity is not our friend. So once that's dry, I'll come back, and I did go ahead and cover the inside here. And then all we have to do is add our Fortunes by Madame Zahra on the front. And I think I'm gonna use liquid pearls to cover these spots instead of brads. So that will be our last step on this one, and then this one will be done. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is add our Fortunes by Madame Zahra to the front. And I'm gonna ink edges, and I'm gonna use Villainous Potion. Sorry if I was off camera. It's the night before the night of Mystic Arts, and I have been feverishly crafting to get everything done, and I am exhausted. All right, so I'm gonna just glue that down. And instead of using brads, obviously, since I've just glued it down, I'm gonna use liquid pearls, and I've got gold. I would have used purple, but I don't have a dark purple, so I'm just gonna do a big old glob there. Big old glob there, and I'm gonna set that aside and let it dry completely, and then this one will be done. Okay, so let's take a close look at our fortune teller. And because she's not glued in, we just shift her over and we can turn on the lights. You can get a good look at the lights. So that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, please do all the things that lets YouTube know you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment down below. Thanks for joining me, and happy crafting.